Well, welcome to Poppin' Top. Got my buddy Andy here tonight. Andy, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you, man. Glad to be here.
Hell yeah, dude. So everybody that doesn't know, anybody watching on the TikTok live, we typically do 10 away once a week. It's every week. It's like a race review. Every once in a while, we get to do fun spin-offs where this is more of a relaxed. We joke around, have a good time, talk about some cool stories, meet some cool people in the sport, and we sit here and we have some cold ones. Andy, what are you drinking, man?
I am drinking, I don't know why, an Angry Orchard
Okay.
Blood Orange. So,
Blood orange?
yep, Blood
All
Orange.
right. Nice. I'm going with Old Faithful today, man. You have any of these, dude? Like the Monster Beasts?
I've had a couple of them. Depends on the flavor, man. I'm either
Do
iffy
you
or
have a favorite?
a favorite is probably going to be the original.
The
And I'll
original's a banger. I love the peach. This one
try
is
that one yet.
this one might be my favorite is the peach. So let's go ahead and pop top, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Nice.
What are we drinking?
Andy, what you been up to today, man? Anything fun?
Not really too much. Honestly, it's been pretty chilly here at the house. It rained all day.
Yeah,
So
it's been like that the last 3 days here. It's been cold and raining all day.
it's definitely not fun. Which I mean, when it's like that, there's really nothing much to do, especially around here. But
I mean, that's nothing different over here. It's the same. I mean, I got to go to work and then, start preparing for the weekend, last race of the year. But yeah, no, it rained literally. It rained our practice out because it rained Monday, Tuesday. It rained into yesterday and even into like this morning. And it finally warmed up a little bit today. Got up to like 60. But no, it's been a miserable couple days. You've been cooped up in the house. So,
yeah, I was gonna say,
um,
I think for today it got up to like 48, maybe.
oh wow. Yeah, no, that was like us like the last couple of days. It was literally like just so cold. I think Tuesday it was like 47, 48 here, but it said felt like 33 and it was like Sunday was like 60. So you go from 60 on Sunday then like the following day and a half later it's feeling like 33 out. Miserable.
Mm,
So, but
mm-mm.
all right, so this podcast episode is going to be probably my most unique that we've done. The other ones, we've had like some of my best friends, my teammates. Lane's been on the podcast. I've had my buddy Jarius, who actually was talking on the podcast the other night. But we like to have like this is the podcast that's way more relaxed, have a good time. We'll talk about anything. We've done a mental health episode. So Andy, you're our first non-working in the sport guest. I think everybody else has been in the sport that either I've worked with, raced with, spotter, whatever it might be. So how do you feel to be the first, I guess you could say fan to be on the show? I don't want to discredit you, like, you
Oh no,
know,
not at all. I
but
mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like I said earlier, it's the first podcast I've
oh,
been
I'm
on.
getting an evil stare. I'm so sorry. My wife just came in here and looked at me. She was on Poppin' Top. We did an episode with her, but I consider her family, like it's different. Sorry. First male fan, because Sam's not a NASCAR fan, let's be honest.
Oh
You're
well,
not a NASCAR fan. You're just like, I like NASCAR because it pays my bills because my husband's in it. So Andy, you're the first male, as long as you identify as a male, to
yes,
be
yeah.
on the podcast as a fan. Sorry, babe. I'm really sorry that you had to come in here and be so rude. But anyways, well, I think what our favorite part about this episode is going to be telling everybody how we met and how kind of everything comes full circle to now how like we've started becoming like gamer friends because for everybody, Andy lives in Bristol. I live in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, so we live like 3 to 3.5 hours apart. Um, I guess I'll give my version of how we met, and then you can tell us your side, and kind of we can fill in the gaps from there, and we can kind of talk about how we become friends since then. So last year, last September, when we went to Bristol, I was with Lane. We went out, we won the race at Bristol. It's the fall race. I think it was our second win in a row or something like that. It was the second race of the playoffs. So everybody started talking about how, like, dang, too bad the 38's not in the playoffs. Like, wonder how well they would have done. We ended up winning the race, got to go to victory lane. After the race, me and the guys are starting to walk back to the pit box. It's the only pit box left on pit road. I happen to see a group of people, some fans that had come down from the stands, and they start yelling at us. They're saying things, and so Andy happened to be in the crowd. Andy, I think was your wife with you? Was Jesse with you?
She was, yeah.
And then who else was with you?
So I had a couple buddies of mine who I actually met through Xbox.
Okay.
We had like, I don't
This
know,
is like a really normal thing for you, just meeting gamer buddies.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
There's about 8 or 9 of us down, and they all
Okay.
came down, and we camped at the racetrack, and really kind of just took off from there, honestly.
That's freaking awesome. So I remember coming back down from from Victory Lane because Victory Lane's up on like on a second level at Bristol, and I saw these fans down there. And they're yelling at us. They're saying some things. I've been drinking a couple beers. Like I drank like 3 beers in Victory Lane. Was it was a hot night, so I was feeling it pretty quick. Well, Andy and his buddies were like, "Hey, can we take a picture with the pit sign?" And I was like, I think I was taking it down. I think you were like, "Can we take a picture with it?" Right? And
Yep.
I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." Well, my rear changer Steven was like, "Hey man, are you sure you should do that?" I was like, "What can they do?" But after at the same time, I wouldn't say I'm drunk by all means. Like I'm tipsy. I'm feeling I got a good buzz. And I'm like, this would be really cool. Like let the fans take a picture with the pit sign. Like how many people can say they've done that, you know? So after I took it over there, like halfway to walking to the wall with the sign, it hit me. I'm like, what if these mofos steal this thing and run off into the stands and just book it out of the last great Coliseum, you know? And I'm like going through my head, I'm like, I could probably chase them down. I'm pretty fast, but at the same time, what if they swarm me and they're like, no, we're gonna keep it? But I was like, in good faith, I'm gonna let them take a picture with it. I think I told you guys that too when I handed it over the wall. I'm like, don't you guys freaking steal this
Yeah,
thing or something?
you did. And it's funny because while you were walking towards us, the other tall guy who's beside me, my buddy Colin,
Okay.
he's like, dude, when he gives it to us, just run. And I was like,
I was
no, please
like, that's
don't.
great. Yeah. So I remember handing you guys the sign. Y'all took a picture with it. You had a great time, holding the sign and taking everybody. I think everybody wanted pictures with it after
Yeah,
they saw you guys do it. They're like, "Can we take a picture with it?" And did I take y'all's picture with your phone?
I believe you did. Yeah.
Because I think the picture's on the opposite side of the wall where I'm at. So,
Yes. Yes, it is.
um, the first time I'd ever done that. I thought that was freaking awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I'm over here taking pictures with fans with the sign. Like, not me personally, but I'd let y'all take a picture with it. But then the one thing I remember super well to this day was people asking for lug nuts off the ground. Do you remember this story?
Barely.
I like chat when I say I took a lug nut off the ground. It is a tiny piece of steel. It's a piece of metal. And I mean, these things weigh a couple ounces. I mean, they got some good force. Like if you chuck it, it'll go as far as you want. Um, I remember I picked this thing up and they're like, give us some lug nuts. And I just turned around, I was like, all right, here you go. And I threw it again. I was a little tipsy, wasn't thinking clearly. I'm like, right as I let go, I'm like, what if that hits someone in the side of the head? Like gives them a concussion or whatever. I mean, I hit the target right on. Whoever asked for the lug nut put their hand up and caught the freaking lug nut. And my changer Steven saw it. He was like, I can't believe you just did that. I can't believe you hit the target like right on the spot. And I couldn't have been more proud in that moment. I was almost more proud I made that throw than I did winning the race. So
I'm about positive you handed them out to people beforehand, and you gave
maybe
one of
that's what it
them
was.
to me,
Okay, so you have
and
one of the lugs.
actually sitting up here on top of this in the top corner
Perfect.
with rubber from that race.
Excellent. Yeah, because that sounds more familiar too. 'Cause I remember walking over there handing out lug nuts, but then someone was asking for more, and I was like, I'm not walking back over there. It's just not happening. I'm gonna make sure that like y'all can have your lug nuts, but I just like here you go, chucked it like I mean it was a good like 50 or 60 feet, and the dude just put his hand up and was like boom, and I'm like no shit that just happened. I was like I could have seriously hurt someone, but it ended up being a good night. No one got hurt by a lug nut. Everybody walked away with lug nuts, pit sign pictures. It was a good night. So, um, yeah, that was pretty cool. So then, full circle, as we kind of get closer to here in this day and age, a few months ago, I think I saw you post the picture on Front Row's post with I think it was Lane and all of us after Bristol, and you
Mm-hmm.
commented saying, "Hey, the guy on the far left hooked us up," and you showed the picture that you got with the pit sign. And I
Yep.
remember commenting like, "Hey, there's the picture." I was always wondering what it was going to look like. So ended up, I commented, and I think we became followers on Twitter, and then you added me on Facebook later, correct?
Yeah, I did.
There we go. So then I'll be honest, when you added me, I get a lot of friend requests. Sometimes I sorry, anybody that has a friend request out to me on Facebook. I sometimes don't accept them, But I remember accepting yours, and it was like a few days later, I realized it was from you were from Twitter. And I was like, oh, this is Andy from Bristol. So I
Hmm.
added you. And then it had to be a few months ago when I realized that you were from Florida. We started talking about the Gators. I think you were posting about the Gators. And I'm like, who's this guy again? Like I said, so sorry that I didn't remember you off the top of my head. But I was like, oh, yeah, this is Andy from Bristol. I'm like, why is he a Gator fan? He lives in Tennessee. I realized it said you're from Bradenton, Florida. So I'm
Yep.
from Ocala. And I was like, yo, this is kind of crazy. We're both Gator fans. Like, this is awesome. So let's talk about it. So then we started chatting about Florida, how we were going to be this year. And that's kind of where our friendship really started was after we started talking about Florida, from what I remember. I mean, obviously it started, I guess you could say last year when you took pictures with the sign. But
Yeah.
then when we started talking about Florida over Facebook, how, DJ Lago was going to be to then how was Florida going to fare out. And obviously that has gone to hell in a handbasket this year for the most part. It's not been the
Yeah.
easiest thing to be a fan of the Florida Gators, but nonetheless we found out we're also Bucks fans together. You like the Rays, I like the Braves. So we have these teams that we enjoy. So we've talked about that when they're playing, um, and then so we end up rolling up to Bristol like a month and a half, 2 months ago now. Andy messaged me again before the race. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take a picture with the sign if you win." I was like, "Bet, like let's do it." First lap, we freaking spin out. Like, are you kidding me? We spin out, and I'm like, "Man, this is gonna be a long night," you know. And I was just like, geez, dude, this sucks. Like, I hope we can win because I really want to get Andy another picture with this sign. So, end up thrashing away that night. We ran 3 pit stops. The original strategy was to run 1 pit stop at the end of stage 2 and be done. Ran a pit stop right there after we spun on lap 1. Ran a pit stop at the end of stage 1, into stage 2. End up going out there and whooping ass. Go out and lead like 112 of like 250 laps. And that was from basically starting dead last because after the first lap, we were in dead last. But probably my favorite win. I know I've talked about it on the podcast before that that's my favorite win. What was that night like for you? And we'll kind of touch up to how the rest of the night went after that.
Well, we've talked about that. I messaged you out of the blue and I was like, I told my wife because she's sitting beside me. I was like, there's no way he's going to respond. And then I look midway through stage 2, I think it was, and I saw where you responded before green flag. And I was like, oh, dude, please win this
I
race.
know. I was thinking about that because I had Sam with me that night. I found out middle of the race that she was wearing her Baca shirt, like this lady that loved NASCAR, her grandmother that passed away. And I'm like, man, we got a lot riding on these 4 wheels out there on the track tonight. Like, we gotta get Sam to victory lane, we gotta get Baca to victory lane, we gotta get Andy his picture with his buddies with the pit sign. And I'll be completely honest, dude. When we got to like 50 to go and it's just green flag, I'm like, we're gonna have a wreck at some point. Someone's gonna blow a tire. Someone's gonna get in the wall and spin out. But at the same time, I was all about. I'm like, I just want this to go green. Please, 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 just go green. And I think the 99 was on our ass for a little while. So I'm sitting here thinking, man, the 99 is gonna end up passing us. But it didn't happen. And as fate would have it, we got to hang out a little bit after the race. You got to take your picture. We won
Yep.
again. I was excited. I think I was more excited for the things that happened. Like I said, I got to take Sam to victory lane. She was supposed to go to last year's Bristol race when we won. Didn't happen. She was wearing her grandmother's shirt that night, and I wanted to get you that picture again, and then we could actually like meet up for a quick second, and be like, "Yo, what's up, dude?" And so all 3 things happened. That's by far my favorite win I've ever had. So that was a super cool night. I want to hear more of your thoughts on that. Like, so you got to tell everybody, like, "Hey, we're gonna go down and take a picture with the sign again,"
Yeah.
because Blake said we could, right?
And we had everybody, the same people from the year before, minus one,
Okay,
who lives out in Texas. He
gotcha.
couldn't make it this year. But lap 1, because I do remember sending you the message, and I was like, well, I guess that's not going to happen tonight.
Right?
And then
Like
when I did
immediately
look
let
at my,
down.
yeah, and then like I said, I looked at my phone through stage 2, and I was like, okay, and Lane's already been driving through the field at that point. And then I believe you guys stayed out after stage 2 because you guys were the leaders to the start of stage 3, if I'm not
We
mistaken.
won the race off pit road.
Ah,
That's what it was. We came down second, went out first, because we came down behind Corey Heim,
yep.
and I
Yeah.
remember all of us, we were kind of wondering why the 15 beat him off. We barely beat the 15 off pit road.
Hmm.
And I was kind of like, man, what happened to the 11? Because I think they fell to like fourth or something like
Yeah.
that. And that was really
Yeah.
that was not like the 11's pit crew to have kind of a slow or bad stop. And as I think later in the night, someone had sent one of the pit crew guys, I think it was Alvin, had a video of the stop. And the next day we were reviewing it. And the 11 just had like a slower left side or something because it ended up cutting away from the close-ups on the cars. It went to like a full pit road view as everybody was starting to leave pit road, and you see us beat the 15 off by like half a truck. So that's how
Yep.
we got the lead. But we had to pit three times. It was, um, like I said, lap one spin. We ended up taking those tires off, and then we pitted at the end of stage one when we came down. I think we were eighth or ninth, and then we went down and pitted at the end of stage two. But we put the first lap tires that came off the truck went back on at the end of stage two. So that's how we kind of recycled the set because that was not the original
Mm.
plan. Um, but yeah, it ended up lucking out, and everything kind of just went our way after the spin. Everything kind of went our way, and like I said, it kind of went green the rest of the race. Got to go to Victor Lane, got to hold another sword, got to come and hang out with you for a little bit. It was a kick-ass night. Like I
That's the
was
thing.
thrilled about that night.
Stage three, I was like, please just go green. Don't
Yep.
have any cautions, because I know how the truck races are. You
Oh yeah.
see a lot of your cautions in the last 25 laps.
Yep.
And I was like, please just go green so I can get down there. And then he ended up winning, which is great. Or got the video of his interview on the big screen. And then once that ended, we all literally sprinted down to the front stretch to get on to the track
Nice.
and went
Heck yeah.
straight to the first pit stall.
That was awesome. That's that was too cool. I can't remember what the race before. What was it? Darlington.
Yeah.
We got pit stall one because of Darlington.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you qualified on the pole, you had first pit selection the following week. So
Yep.
it's not like the Cup Series for the Truck Series. If you qualify P1 to then all the way up to like 36, that's the order you get to pick pit stalls in the next race. Instead, like the Cup Series, they qualify on Fridays or Saturdays, and then they pick pit stalls later that day, something like that. So that way they have it all set up for whoever gets the pole can actually pick what do they want pit stall 1 or pit stall 40. Whatever pit stall is their advantage that they want. So it's a little bit different for the truck series. But yeah, we lucked out and had pit stall 1. I think it actually came in super clutch because when we ran our four tire stop at the end of stage 2, we beat the 15 off. The 15 took no tires. They just went fuel only
Yeah.
because we were all confused like how the hell did they gain like 10, 12 spots? We're like they must have done two tires. After we watched the the rerun later, we realized that they only took gas. That was it. So
Mm.
they had like a 4 or 5 second stop that was just fuel only, and he ended up hanging around at the front for a while after he did that. But then I think he fell off pretty bad at the end of the race. I think he ended up finishing sixth or seventh. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I guess we'll kind of jump into it as we kind of get more into the podcast. So one of the first questions I want to ask you
Yes.
is, when was your first race? Like, what's your first race memory?
So the first race I ever attended was the Busch Series race at Martinsville in 2006.
Okay,
It was the very last race that they had there before they came back a couple years ago.
really?
And I believe Kevin Harvick won that race. I believe.
That makes sense. Kevin Harvick was winning all the time at Martinsville.
And I don't know if we were living here yet or if we were just up here on vacation, but I just remember that was my first race. It's the first time
Okay.
I've ever been up this way. So,
And you were how old? Like 8 or 9, 10, something like that?
Lord, 7 or 8, I believe,
Okay.
maybe 9.
That's awesome. I think my first memories of the race, going to any races, see, growing up in Ocala, we went to Daytona.
Hmm.
So we went to like the Bud shootouts. We would camp in the infield like the night before the race and get to watch Bud shootout stuff.
Hmm.
And I remember one year I ended up throwing my Nerf football over the fence, and my dad wouldn't let me hop over the fence to go get it. So I had to let my football sit there. I was hoping some like track official at some point would be driving by and see it, and I could wave him down like, "Yo, get that!" Never got it back.
Nothing.
So that was one of my first memories as a kid. I think that was 2002. Because I remember it was Jeff Gordon's. It was like the DuPont 200 years car.
Yeah.
It's like the orange with the white. I think it's actually on Owen's background. If you ever watch the podcast 10 Away on YouTube, I'm pretty sure it's behind him, like over his shoulder. But I remember that it was that year we were camping in the infield, and that's one of the first memories I have. And I think there was another time when I was a kid. I might have been like 5. So this was like 99, 2000. Um, we went to a Bud Shootout race. Me and my dad sat in the stands. I remember seeing the rainbow car. That's how long ago it was. Jeff Gordon wasn't driving the flame car. It was still the rainbow car. And I
Mm,
remember seeing the rainbow car, and we were in the tunnel turn, or the oval where the checkered flag is. And I would see the rainbow car come around the track, and every time I would see it, I was like, I like that car. Come to find out, obviously the dude was a monster. He was winning all the time.
yep.
Couldn't remember like if he won or not. I just remember like the rainbow car, and that's where the love for Jeff Gordon came from. And then like a couple years later, I remember my dad. We were on the family computer, and it switched to the flame car on J Ski. That was when J Ski was really big website, and he would show me everybody's new paint scheme for 2001. Um, and that's when I was like, oh, Jeff Gordon changed to a flame car, and instantly I was like, love it, like didn't
Still looks.
care. It still looks amazing. Another banger. So that's kind of some of my first memories too, was seeing the rainbow car as a kid in the stands to then I remember, like I said, throwing the football over the fence and camping in the infield. It was early in the morning too. I mean, there's still mildew on the ground. I'm outside just throwing a football with my dad having a good old time. Then it went over the fence and had to
Mm.
stop playing football. So that sucked. But you have any big like takeaways from that first experience going to Martinsville? Were you like hooked or was it like kind of
Honestly, so my parents are the ones who got me into racing.
okay?
I think they went to 8 or 9 races in 2004, which is one of the reasons why we moved here. Uh,
This is where
they
the story's going to get good for us in a little bit.
they uh, they moved up here, or they came up here in 2004 for the night race weekend,
Okay.
and had to stay in Knoxville for it.
How far is Knoxville from Bristol?
From here, about right at 2 hours, 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Wow. Is that because of how like busy everything was in the
Yeah.
area at the time?
Mhm.
Wow. Wasn't that the year that Junior won in the Bud
Yeah.
car?
The first sweep.
Did he sweep?
Yeah, he won the Bush race Friday night.
I do remember seeing a picture of him holding a broom. Now that you're saying that,
Yep.
that is awesome. I
But
also remember that race because I think that was the same race like Kevin Harvick had to like get out of the car and Truex hopped in for him or something because he was like dealing with like heat exhaustion.
I believe so.
It might be that race. Around that era is when I really started to watch like every weekend. Like 10, 11-year-old me, I was like, all right, the race is on. I'm watching it.
That was the first year that I truly remember actually watching races.
Okay.
Anything before that, I don't really know because I was like, I don't know, 3 and 4 years old.
Right.
But in 2004, that's the first time I ever watched. They went to Summer Daytona. They went to Homestead. They went to Talladega when Jeff Gordon won and got all the beer cans thrown on his car.
The Pepsi car,
Yeah.
the blue one.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful scheme, by the way.
Awesome scheme. Yeah.
They went to Charlotte, Darlington on Mother's Day weekend back when that
Man,
was.
your parents really balled out for
Yeah,
going to some races.
yeah. So
That's amazing.
they got me hooked, and I'll be honest, I've been hooked ever since.
Nice. Well, that will probably lead us into our next question then. What is your first memory of the sport? We kind of talked about that. What dude, I didn't realize was I drunk texting you some of these questions? These don't even make sense. Favorite driver growing up? I realize I don't have a V in driver, so it just looks like dryer. Like, what's your favorite driver? You like for your laundry. What's your favorite dryer?
Favorite driver growing up was Tony Stewart.
Okay, so you're a Tony Stewart fan.
Big Tony Stewart fan. Love the man
Gotcha.
to death.
Okay.
And then once he retired, figured I'd stick with the dirt guy, so I moved over to Larson.
Good choice. I mean, you're still gonna get to see some wins. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. See, I grew up a Gordon fan. I think I probably just talked about that. Um, I like I said, I really don't remember much about when I started liking Jeff Gordon. I think it was the rainbow car, and I was just like, I like that car, and then he ended up winning all the time, so I was cool with it. But as I've gotten older, I've grown to appreciate more of the drivers. Even when I was a kid, I was like, I don't like Tony Stewart, or I don't really like Dale Jr. Um, and then I'm trying to think of anybody else. Like I really wasn't old enough to watch Dale Sr. drive. I just remember when he passed away, like how things happened that day vaguely, very, very brief. But um, as I've gotten older, like Tony Stewart's one of those guys. I look at him like, man, that dude was just a G. Like he just said what was on his mind, and if you needed to get punched in the face, he was gonna punch you in the face. Um, it was just he was just he was just a driver, man. Like he loved the sport, but he had his feelings, his opinions, and he shared them with everyone. Really can't fault the man.
Yeah.
So I I was sad to see when he retired because it was all within a couple years. We lost Gordon, Tony Jr., and then like 2 years later it was 3 years later it was Jimmy. Like all within 5 years, like the core of NASCAR was basically gone. You had,
Hmm.
like I said, Jeff Gordon, Stewart, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, all were gone within a handful of years. Casey Kane also
Yeah.
retired,
Ryan Newman.
and Ryan Newman, yeah.
Big one.
Man, wild times. I feel like the whole sport within, like I said, about 5 years or so really changed a lot. That the complexion of the sport looked different. Like everybody kind of had to figure out new favorite drivers, and some people had to transition to maybe Chase Elliott or Larson really became a big driver because he came in kind of towards the end of Jeff and Tony's career. But I think also there's a lot of really good talent in the sport now. Maybe it's different how they got there, but there's a lot of good talent, and like I mean, the cars they race different. They're not quite the same as what they used to be, but nonetheless, I still think NASCAR has great overall personalities and stuff. I sometimes wish they could be more lenient and let people talk and
That
just
would
be
be
fiery.
cool.
Like Kyle Busch is on his way out. Like there's no secret to that. But I like the Kyle Busch personalities now as I've gotten older. I kind of like Denny as well, just because they want to see the sport be successful, but they also don't take shit from people. They're just like, no, man,
Oh,
screw you. Like that's not cool. We don't like this. This is dumb. This is the reason why it's dumb, you know. But um, yeah, good stuff. So Tony Stewart fan. I like that. I like that pick a lot, especially as I got older. I really liked Stewart a lot more as kind of once I got into the sport and I no longer needed to feel like I had a favorite driver. It was just like, hey, you work in it, take it for what it's worth, and who you meet, just let it be whatever it is. But a lot of times there's like an unwritten rule, like you really can't be a race fan once you work in the sport. If I'm being honest, like if you work on the teams and you're going up and asking drivers for autographs, that gets around the garage quick.
no, I guarantee.
And you develop a reputation pretty fast if you're doing that they're like, hey, don't let this guy come back. Like he's
Uh,
off the team, or like you just get a reputation for you can't differentiate being a fan versus working in the sport. There's a lot of people that I've seen come into the sport that don't last because they think that they can be a race fan and work in it, and it doesn't really work that way. You have to be professional, do your job, and if you win with your team and you go celebrate. But other than that, you don't cross those lines of being a fan. Let the fans be the fans. You be the professional on the pit crew, road crew, whatever your job is. So, um, but on to the next question. Best memory at the track. Do you have one where you got like hammered drunk in the stands, or just a great memory that just like sticks out to you
um,
as the best one?
I've got two of them. One of them was before I could even drink.
Okay,
It was Martinsville,
Martinsville, nice.
2015 fall race.
Jeff Gordon's last win.
Uh,
Okay,
so my dad's a big Jeff Gordon fan as well. Well, my mom and dad surprised me with tickets to go to that Martinsville race, and we went. And we
okay,
sat about 10 rows up in turn one.
nice.
Well, you know all the beef that had been going on between Matt and Joey beforehand.
Yep, I think I know where this is going.
Uh-huh. And once Matt came back out onto the track because him and Brad K got into a wreck, or Brad K spun him out earlier in the race.
Right.
I looked at my mom and I told her, I was like, if I'm Matt and I want payback, I'm going to wait back and wreck Joey.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I still have the video. It's really bad because I was
Poor quality.
sophomore in high school at the time. But I got the video of him wrecking Joey, slamming him into the wall in turn one. And when that happened, that place erupted.
Loudest you've ever heard that place.
Yes. It was
Really?
fantastic. And it got even louder whenever he got out of the car and put his sunglasses on.
Oh, I bet. I bet. I mean, so I remember that day too because I'd come home and I remember my buddy texting me. I don't remember what was going on. I wasn't watching the race. I think I knew that Joey was doing really well. And then my buddy texted me saying like, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And Jeff has a shot to win. And I think I turned it on and I was like, "What? Just went down." And sure enough, they start obviously it's like it's still replayed to this day anytime you go watch Martinsville.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
any Martinsville race, it's a replay. Um, I will say this. that I'll have to add this in with this story. Um, I remember turning it on, being a Jeff Gordon fan, and then watching him win because my buddy texted me about. He's like, "Man, Jeff's got a chance to win," and I'm like, "Oh damn, he does!" Like, hell yeah, let's see what happens. Watched him win, couldn't believe it. Also, I remember thinking like, the 22 was the best car. Like, the
Oh yeah.
22 got wrecked. The 22 was hauling ass. He was like
Mm.
a second ahead of everybody within like the first 5 laps after any green flag start. Um, but I was cool. I was so glad Jeff got to win, and it was his last win, sadly. But glad I got to watch it. I remember it was really dark too, like on TV. I was like, man, it's like getting dark here. It's got to be getting dark there.
It
Well, so
was
then the
very dark.
following day or the following weekend, I'm trying to remember what happened. I'm trying to remember, make sure this is all accurate. I could be mistaken this story with another story, but I remember it had to do with Matt Kenseth and the Brad Keselowski beef. I think that this story I'm getting confused, but I actually pitted Matt Kenseth's son Ross at one of the late model races, and I think it was like the year before when Matt Kenseth and Ross, or not Ross, when Matt Kenseth and Brad Keselowski and had that beef at Charlotte on
Mm.
that like Saturday night for the Bank of America 500. Well,
Yep.
like the next day was this late model race in Indiana or something. And I remember like we arrived at the track, knowing who I'm pitting, it's Matt's son. I'm like, man, everybody's gonna be asking Ross questions about his dad and what he's doing. Because I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, it was that night. But I thought for a second it was the Joey Logano beef because it happened around the same time, end of the year. It was fall, and I just remember I went and was pitting Ross Kenseth the next day, and everybody was like, "Hey, where's Ross at? Has he talked to his dad?" And I'm just like, not a clue, man. Like, I'm just here to change tires. Like, that's it. So, I'm pretty sure I'm getting them confused now that I'm actually talking about it. But that was one of the funny memories I have tied with Matt Kenseth was he got into some wreck and fight altercation after a race, and like the very next day, I was pitting his son's car at a late model race, and
Mm.
all these old heads, old fans were like, "Hey, what's going on with Matt? Like, how's he doing?" And I'm just like, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I just thought it was so crazy. And everybody, I remember Ross sitting there at a table signing autographs. Everybody, hey, man, that was awesome last night what your dad did. Tell him, hell yeah. Just like, okay, cool. I'm sure Ross was just like, whatever, man. Like, yeah, I've heard that 44 times today.
Yeah.
Um, but that sounds like a really good core memory that was made that day for you watching Matt wreck Joey.
It was awesome, and then obviously watching Gordon have his very last career win was also pretty cool, and it secured him into the championship as
Yeah, he
well.
had like a week or two to prepare for it. I remember he was pretty good at Miami when he got out front, but then that was short lived. Because for a hot second, I
Mhm.
was like, is this dude about to steal a championship if he can just stay out front?
Would have been what, number 5,
Yeah,
I
it
think.
would have been five. It would have been a really cool way to end, like getting a
Oh yeah,
championship. Especially with the new playoff format. He never really won one with the new playoff format. It was kind of random, who won. Kind of sometimes it was the best, sometimes it was second or third best driver that year that ended up winning, which to each their own, whatever. Um, but on to the next question. Do you still love the races like you once did? Has it changed? Do you love it more as you've gotten older? How do you feel about it?
um, honestly, about the same. I've loved it since it was introduced to me, and every Sunday, well, Friday through Sunday, I've got it on the
Races
TV.
on.
Whether
It's a
it's a track
religion.
race, Xfinity Cup, it doesn't matter. I'm watching it.
That's amazing. Well, for people like you, I really appreciate you help pay my bills for watching.
Of course.
But I can only see in the near future how much more fun these Bristol races will be. Get you guys passes. You guys can come down and hang out on pit road.
Yeah.
And all the Call of Duty we've been playing lately. Who knows what other games we'll get involved in. But I do want to take a sec to talk about how similar our lives are when we had that conversation a few weeks ago.
Yes. Yes.
So I guess I'll start first with, so you had a sister that passed away a couple years ago, correct?
Yeah.
I had a daughter that passed away a few years ago, and your birthday is my daughter's birthday,
Hmm.
and my birthday is the day before your sister's birthday. Like we were one day apart, correct?
Yeah.
Like her birthday was April 6th,
Yep. April 6th of
1994.
94.
I'm April 5th, 94. The parodies here were that to begin with. We've lost a significant one in our life. And then the other twist to this is we both grew up in Florida. Our parents basically moved to a different state because of NASCAR. And there's a couple other things I think we were trying to figure out. Um, but it was just kind of really weird how we realized like we have lived similar lives being that we were born in Florida, moved somewhere else, and it was mainly because of racing. And then we lost someone really close. So yeah, tell me a little about of living in Florida. When did you move from Florida up to Tennessee? Like how old were you? I think I was around 14 when we moved.
I want to say 10,
Okay,
give or take a couple years.
gotcha.
Um, but spent the back half of elementary, all of middle, and all of high school up here, including college.
Okay, gotcha. Nice. Now, do you ever miss Florida at all, or for most of you, like what you remember is basically Tennessee, correct?
Yes and no. Obviously, I've spent more time up here, but I still consider that my home down there.
Right. That's kind of how I am. It's like when people ask me, I'm like, well, I was born in Florida. I've lived here like over half my life, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to say when it comes to that.
Yeah.
It's like I have plenty of family in Florida. Like I think there's still roots of me in Florida, as in when people ask me like, what's your favorite time of the year? And I'm like, summer. Like I love the
Yeah.
heat. It's like I
Mhm.
grew up in the heat. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, sweating my balls off was no big deal. Like I had to play football in 95-degree heat with my neighbor. Like that's just what I grew up doing. And
Need
like
to cool off, go to the ocean.
yeah, I mean, I didn't have the ocean right next to me like I think you did. You were a little bit closer. I was like an hour and
About
a half from the beach.
I was about 5 minutes.
Lucky. I would have been surfing and like riding sharks, fins if I could have, but that didn't happen. I was an hour and a half, so I was a little bit limited on how much I got to go to the beach. Nor did I
Mhm.
get to drive when I lived in Florida. Otherwise, that would have been amazing. I would have been at the beach all the time. So yeah, it's hard for me to tell like where I truly I'm kind of like you. I'm like a hybrid. It's like I'm kind of from Florida. I'm from North Carolina, which whatever fits the narrative better, I guess is probably the better way of putting it.
Oh yeah.
Um but yeah, that was something I really wanted to talk about a little bit was, how did you handle when your sister passed away? I know we got to talk about like the in-depth situations and how they kind of how they played
Mm.
out in real time. And also kind of how did moving forward go for you? Was it really tough or was it something you kind of always knew might be something you would deal with?
Well, she got diagnosed with lupus. I want to say 2 years out of high school whenever she graduated.
Okay.
Um, and my parents had done quite a bit of research on it, and it didn't seem really all that too serious. The only thing was, is my sister didn't really take care of herself that well,
Okay.
so that didn't help. Before she was 25, she had two hip replacements
Oof.
already done. But the day it happened, my mom called me a few days before and was like, things are shutting down. And I was like, well, when something happens, let me know. Because she's already in
Okay.
the hospital and she'd been there for about 2 weeks. And I got a call about 6:30 a.m. on the 6th of January. I believe it was. Yeah. No. 7th of January. My bad.
That was the other imperative was like Sadie's issue happened like on January 11th or something like that
Yeah.
when all hell broke loose.
Mm-hmm.
So January sucks.
Yeah. So my mom called me and she's like, me and dad are on the way to the hospital. Your sister's gone. And I mean, crying like no other.
You were crying or your parents were?
My mom was.
I'm sure you probably also cried too, right?
Not at the moment. I
Yeah.
The phone call woke me up, so I hadn't processed it yet. Once she hung up, I went back to sleep because I was just,
What?
well, you know, yeah, bad.
Dude, Andy, just like, okay, whatever, my sister's
And
gone.
then
Like, back to bed. I gotta get my Z's.
me and my wife ended up waking up about an hour and a half earlier, around 8 o'clock. And
Okay.
me, her, and my best friend went to Waffle House a couple minutes up the road. And we were sitting there, and I saw my mom post on Facebook, and it all hit me at one time, and I lost it. That whole day was rough, and me and my wife ended up driving down the very next day to Florida.
Man.
And
That
I was
was the other thing. I remember, I think you said that your sister lived in Florida.
yeah, because my parents moved back to about 5 or 6 years ago.
Gotcha. Mm. Man, I don't know what to like. I'm just, I'm somebody that's always laughing and having a good time. So when stuff like that's like happens, it's hard for me to process too. But to
Hmm.
think that you found out the news, then you're just like, I'm going back to bed. It just didn't hit
Yeah.
you.
No.
And then a little while later, you're literally at breakfast with your wife and friend, and then you're like, oh yeah, I got a
Well,
call
that's
about that.
like I told my wife too when after my mom called me the couple days before about Oregon shutting down. I told my wife, and she was like, "Probably isn't good."
Yeah.
Like, you're probably right. And me and my sister growing up weren't really good friends. I guess you could say weren't that close of brother and sister, which is probably also a reason. But either way, losing a sibling, regardless, is
Yeah.
not easy at all. And
Yeah.
she was 27 when
Damn.
she passed.
Golly.
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. So, yeah, my story with Sadie was January 11th, I believe. I remember I got some news from her mom, and it was like, hey, it's not looking good. Something happened today with her nurse because Sadie, backstory with Sadie, Sadie was a quadriplegic. She had a protein deficiency. She literally never talked. She couldn't. She was bedridden. She was on a ventilator,
Mm,
and it was a very different, condition of life for Sadie. Like she lived a very to be very blunt, like she was bedridden and she watched TV all day, but she was very cognitively there. You could talk to her and she could kind of make facial expressions and see, you could see in her face that she was talking with you. She used her eyebrows and her eyes and like, that's crazy, or like, whatever. But she couldn't move, she couldn't talk. And that was just how we knew Sadie. Well, I remember her mom, Logan, had texted me one day, or maybe she called me and she said, "Hey, some stuff happened. It's not good. I'm really worried." And Logan was always one of those people that would tell me like, "Sadie's been kind of sick lately, not feeling the best, or whatever was going on with Sadie's life." And that was the first time I ever saw the the warrior in Logan be kind of defeated, and I
yeah.
was like, "That's not good. That's alarming." And like, I'll be honest. So Sadie lived to be 7, closer to 8. And for those 6.5 years, 6 years of Sadie's life, we were always kind of on watch. We were always kind of on standby. We knew at 6 months older, so something was off with Sadie. She wasn't really growing. She weighed like 10 pounds at 4 or 5 months old. She just wasn't gaining weight like a normal baby. Just a lot of things were going wrong very quickly with her, and we never got any true reason why it happened, other than it could have been a genetic issue, why she never developed like a normal child. But to fast forward to her being 7, she had like Harvard studied her, all this stuff. She was one of like a handful of people in the world with this weird protein deficiency, and it was a genetic issue, something that like was totally uncontrollable from what we know. And so I grieved a lot of Sadie's life. Like I grieved her alive, thinking like at one point in my life I'll probably have to bury her. And as sad as that is to say out loud, it's the truth. It was kind of like anytime I saw her mom call me, it was like, is this that call? Is something seriously going on? Am I headed to the hospital? I had that scare one time, and that scare happened. Like the first scare that I ever really had was like February 13th of 2017. I remember I was working in Charlotte somewhere, and I get a call from her fiance at the time, and it was like, "Hey Blake, Sadie coded. We're headed to the hospital." And I was like an hour from her house where I was at, and I was like, "All right, I'm headed there." Immediately called work, told them like, "Hey, I have an emergency. I'll let y'all know, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye." I even called the state highway patrol office and I was like, hey, y'all are going to see this car. I'm going to be blitzing down the highway. I'm trying to get to my daughter. There's an emergency. And the state highway patrol is like, we understand your situation, but please also be smart. And that's that. And I was like, fuck it, dude. If I get a ticket, I get a ticket. I'm trying to get
Yeah.
there as fast as I can. I know shit. Like, kid you not, dude. I got to where she was at in the hospital in like 43 minutes, and it was like an hour drive typically.
Mm,
I was just flying as fast as I could. And so that was kind of the first red flag. So, or I wouldn't say red flag, the first real big moment for Sadie. We ended up getting her trach. That's when she started living on a ventilator. And so over the years, we kind of always saw Sadie. She would get sick. Maybe it would take a week or so for her to bounce back. To then fast forward, she was actually kind of in a good spot for a while. They had changed some settings on her vent. She was getting better oxygen, all this stuff, and she was just kind of progressing. We knew that she was never going to live a normal life. We kind of accepted that. But I always, anytime, like I said, anytime her mom would call, I was like, deep breath and hold your breath and see what this phone call's about.
yeah.
And so then we get to January 11th or January 10th, and she told me, she's like, "Hey, something happened today. I'm not sure what's going on. She looks like she's having seizures." And I was like, "Oh my God." So I ended up going up there that night. Over the next coming days, we come to find out they took an MRI, and Sadie's MRI came back that she was cognitively on the same level as a newborn. And the doctors didn't say, like, there's no way she could bounce back, but they've never seen someone bounce back from it. So they're not sure how to diagnose it other than they think it's terminal. And we basically all in that moment had to make a decision. Do we let Sadie go, or does she live the life that she no longer even knows who we are because she's cognitively the same level as a newborn? Anytime we use some of the machines on her and kind of like suction out her trach and clear her esophagus and stuff, her airway, she would freak out because she didn't know what that sound was anymore. So it
Mm.
was really, really sad. So from January 11th, we had then had some other things happen too along the those coming days. We had to get hospice involved and stuff and palliative care, and we ultimately had to make the decision that like we had to let her go. So we had like had a date scheduled. It was February 13th was the day that we had scheduled, which most ironic day out of 365 days, it's the same day she coded 6 years prior. Um, and the hospice team was going to show up at like 8 in the morning. I live an hour from her house, so I was going to be leaving my house like 6:30. 5:30 on the dot, Logan's calling me, and I remember waking up. I slept horrible that night. I was like, it was like every 2 hours I woke up, making sure I didn't miss the alarm or making sure like I'm like mentally like there enough because what I'm about to experience, we're gonna let like our child pass away. It's the craziest thing you can comprehend. And 5:30 on the dot, I'll never forget seeing my phone light up with Logan calling me. It's got her picture with Sadie on it. I'm like, this calls one of two things. It's either they're making a change for like when the care team gets here, so I don't have to rush up there, or it's the other one, and she's gone. And it was B.
Mm.
And all I can remember, like I have these voices stuck in my head. You might have the same voices of hearing your mom on the phone. Was like, hey, I can hear her voice to this day. It's like, hey, she passed, and it's like this teary filled voice, doesn't know how to handle things, doesn't know where to go,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like you. You're kind of like in shock. You're kind of like, okay, and I went ahead and woke up like right then and there. I immediately got in the shower. I think I left within 15 minutes and got on the road, headed up to Winston where they live, and I remember it was like the most somber drive I've ever made. It was just like I can't believe I'm driving up here to see, she's gone. I'm guessing you kind of felt that way with your sister, driving to Florida, and you're like, I'm going down here to see my sister, and she's not here anymore.
Hmm.
So,
And like you said with the voice, the scream that I heard my mom scream while I was on the phone with her is
yeah,
one I've never heard.
it's
I
something that
haven't heard.
it's like it's scarred to your brain. Like you will
Yeah.
never not forget it. And I mean, I've got a couple of moments like that. Those are for a different story, but just the things I think you and me can share and the empathy that we both feel like knowing what these moments feel like, right?
Hmm.
And I'll never not forget that feeling, knowing what I saw when I saw the phone light up and hearing what she said. And I remember her sister Haley trying to like say, "Hey, I'll come I'll come pick you up if I need to." And I was like, "No." Like there was something in me that really just like that that maybe the dad in me like that, like I'm strong enough to do this. Like I can make it up there. I'll be there in just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think the craziest part of all was when I got to the house, no one was outside. It was like a wet, cold morning. It was early February, mid-February. And I just remember I took a big deep breath when I saw the front door. Like I was like 100 feet from the door. And I was like, I don't know what this is going to be like. And I remember I walked to the front door, and I remember I could still hear her ventilator going like back and forth. You can hear it, breathing for her. And it kind of like threw me off. I'm like, am I being punked? Like, is she still here? And I ended up walking back to her bedroom, and I remember everybody just like around her bed, around her. Logan's holding her. She's not here, and I won't get into any details what she looked like, but it was not the Sadie I knew. And I saw
Yeah.
her the night before. Um, and to backtrack a little bit, the night before was actually the Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. I remember I was kind of watching it with Logan's boyfriend on the couch, but we also knew what this night meant. It's the last night we're spending with Sadie. We're kind
Yeah.
of all like families coming in to see her, like revolving door kind of system, like kind of going in, coming out. And I remember at like 8:30, 8:45, I was like, I got to go home to try to get some sleep. And I thought about staying that night, but there was no place for me to stay. And um, her passing away in the middle of the night or early in the morning, it probably would have done more damage to me. So I think part of me was glad I didn't have to experience that because of all the other things that were going on in my life at the time, which is also another story. But um, it would have done more damage to see her pass away in real time than anything. Um, but I remember when I got there and I held her, like she's gone, like she's wrapped up in a blanket and stuff, and it was just crazy, man. It was like
Mm.
you're almost like at a complete loss for words, but at the same time you're just trying to take it all in and be strong for everybody there. And it's just everybody's like just everybody's crying. Everybody's like trying to hold it together and stuff. So it's crazy. And I think the cool part about some of my story is Sadie passed away on February 13th. I met Sam March 13th, like a month to the day. And it was like that was kind of like I've looked at it a lot of times, and I'm like I look back at that time in my life, and I'm like, that was my time to feel everything, to hurt, to try to start healing, to try to start moving on with my life in this new version of my life without Sadie.
Yeah.
Um, and I had to go to the racetrack a few days later. I think our first race was like February 17th or 18th. So
Mm.
it was yeah, it was like that following Friday night. So like 4 days after she passed away, everybody in the garage, I mean, came up to me and knew Sadie had passed away. People knew Sadie what she was to me, and I mean, I probably got 50 hugs that week. And I had people that didn't even know my story that came up and said, "Hey, like, did your daughter pass?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was just crazy, dude." And like I looked at it and I realized how many people do take notes of your life and people that care about you. And there's some people that constantly checked in on me that I didn't even know cared about me like the way they did. I'm sure you probably experienced that a few years ago when
Yeah.
certain people started checking on you more and you're like, I didn't really think this person cared about me that way?
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, it was a wild time. And like I said, I met Sam a month to the day, and it was kind of like God let me hurt for a month. And then he's like, here's the person you need, and you're going to start to grow again. So it's pretty cool stuff how some of the saddest things in our life also turn into being some of like the most beautiful things, if that makes sense. I take it
Yeah.
every day. You kind of think about your sister. You probably live in honor for her, and just like you probably with your daughter would probably talk about her one day. Like Jack knows who Sissy is, and he every once in a while ask about her or certain things. I'll see like Sadie loved this show called Beat Bugs, and it
Yeah.
was like a show on Netflix of little bugs that sung Beatles songs. And so anytime I hear Beatles songs or I see Beat Bugs by chance because the kids are watching kids Netflix, and I'll get like a little throwback to like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this. And for a while there, it was really really hard to watch. It was just like it made you tear up. But actually, this past week, I drove back over to her house because I was working like a block away from where she lived.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna drive back by her house, and it was the first time since like the day I'd seen that house that I was able to drive by and not feel just an overwhelming form of sadness. It was just like, hey Sadie, like I miss you, and I'm sure you've probably gone through your grieving and kind of coming to, and like I mean, it took me like a full 2 years before it really got to a point where it was okay.
Yeah.
Um, but I've also learned a lot of people grieve differently. Like some people, like it changes them completely. Some people turn into a villain. Some people turn into like, I'm gonna make this like the best I can. Um, so it's all just it's different how it hits everybody. But also I don't want to get on like some crazy soapbox here. I just figured like this is so cool how our stories have kind of intertwined and how we met to then how we became friends and
Yeah.
then how the more we talked, we're like, this sounds really familiar. Like this
Uh-huh.
is wild. So um yeah, I really appreciate you, Andy, for obviously telling me about your life and stuff and how we became
Yeah.
friends and stuff. But let me see if I have any more questions before we
Of
get off
course.
here. I think I asked you the last one was what was your perspective on racing? Is it still the best that it is? Do you have a favorite era of racing? Um,
Favorite era. Ooh.
like for me, I think maybe right before the Car of Tomorrow or right after the Car of Tomorrow ended were the two best eras. I think part of it for the nostalgia of being a kid. I
I would
loved like
say
those, what was it, the Gen 4
Gen
era?
4 and then Gen 6 with 950.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like through and through, that is my favorite era of NASCAR because I felt like, well, I think the Gen 6 era with the 950 horsepower, the cars were just on rails. And you had Dale
Yeah.
Jr., you had Jeff Gordon, you had Jimmy Johnson, you had Tony Stewart, all these guys that they were winning races. It didn't
Yeah,
matter.
you still had your greats, but
You
they were
had your
still
greats and you
doing
had
what
great
they did
racing,
beforehand.
great cars. I think it was awesome. It truly was an awesome era. I think for us as kids, like that Gen 4 was like what we really became fans of.
Yeah,
I
I
think
would say so.
I have some weird love-hate relationship with the car of tomorrow because when I first saw it in the racing it kind of gave, I was like, this is buns. But
I,
now I look
I went
back
to
at
the
it.
first two COT races in Bristol and
Okay.
Lionville back to back.
Oh, that's right. It was Bristol was the first COT
Uh,
race. I think Gordon started on the pole, but then Kyle Busch
Kyle
won, right?
Busch beat Jeff Burton photo finish.
Yep. It was like a half a car length or something like that.
Yep. And then the next weekend at Martinsville, because that's when Bristol and Martinsville were back to back in the spring.
Okay.
Mom and dad were like, hey, let's go. I was like, all right, cool.
Hell yeah.
So we sat in the middle of turn 3 and 4 for that one. Junior dominated the first half of the race. Then there's a rain delay. And then Jimmy and Gordon battled at the
Dude, you
line at
got
the
some
finish.
classic ones that you got to see.
Yeah.
I remember watching that on TV, and that's one of those races I think they still post about a good bit when they
Mm-hmm.
show Martinsville. Because I remember watching that last 5 laps. I'm like, Jeff, you have a better car. Please move Jimmy out of the way.
He did. His car was better. And
And
if
he
I
raced
think
Jimmy
if
clean.
he did,
He let him, drive. They drove respectfully. But I feel like that was also the time when Jeff Gordon needed to really put his foot down because the things that happened after that, Jimmy Johnson just pushed Jeff Gordon out of the way.
he
And it
did.
was just like, man. But oh well, it's history. It was still a great race. I remember that day I was a little bummed. I'm like, damn it, Jeff didn't win. But man, awesome stuff. Trying to think if we got anything else to share, like any other coincidences with our lives that kind of run similar. And
Well, you gave me a cool hat. I know that.
there you go. Love that. I mean, I've got so many win hats like that are sitting in a box or they're up there. I'm not trying to say that like egotistically. I have a lot that there's a
Well, I
couple of them
will
I've
say,
kept that are either cool or one of them there's a Pocono hat. The Pocono hat was so comfortable. I was like, I'm probably never gonna wear this hat, but it is the most comfortable hat I've ever owned. It
oh,
formed in
wow.
my head. It's like I kept it just because it was super comfortable.
I mean, that's fair. Well, I don't know if you know or have looked, but on the Bristol hats this year, the last 2 years, they've gone to 250 laps. And the one
Okay.
used to be the UNOH 200.
So that's what I was about to say.
Now
It
it's
was 250 laps, but then the hat you were holding was 200.
now it's 250 instead of 200, and I don't know why they haven't changed it yet.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
And it's my
I
first and only Victory Lane hat I've ever gotten.
I wonder if, dude, I got plenty. You will get plenty more. Ask and you shall receive.
Hey, I'm all
But
for it.
honestly, I was gonna say, I wonder if they just print off a bunch of hats and they didn't use them, so they just handed them back out the next year.
I would about guarantee it because there's not a date on it whatsoever.
Yeah,
Just shows sponsor and where the race is at.
my favorite race win hat that I've got, the Ford hat was pretty cool this year, but honestly, the quality of it was really bad. Like
Mhm.
the bill that where it met the top of the hat, it
Yeah.
stuck out on the inside, so it was really uncomfortable to wear because you just had this
So,
constant pressure, like this line pressed against your forehead. And I was like, man, if this was a better quality hat, I would wear the hell out of this hat. But it was straight butt cheeks quality. But there's a Miller Tech hat that I have. I can see it right there from Pocono. It is a white base on the back. It's a trucker hat, but then in the front it's like a snow gray camo. It's a pretty legit hat. If I didn't have all this kind of stuff in my way, I'd probably get up there and grab it. But um, who knows? Maybe I'll let you have it because I'm probably never gonna wear it. But it is a really cool hat. So.
I mean, I'm not going to say no to it. And I've got too many on the wall, to be honest with you.
Okay, so for Owen, because Owen was a goober and had to bail on us tonight for some like improv show.
Yes.
Uh, Let's ask about your diecast really quick. Those are yours, right? Behind you?
Yes, I will actually turn the camera around.
Okay, let's see it.
All right, so this is everything I've got.
Okay, so I see some Stewart, Labonte, see a lot of
These are
Larson.
the only three that are not Larson.
I'm really bummed you don't have a lane truck yet. Is that Ross's truck, the 44?
No, that's Larson first year dirt race at Bristol.
Oh, okay. Didn't realize he raced the 44 for Nice.
Yeah, he wrecked it.
He wrecked it. He didn't win?
Oh no.
Man, the
Oh
dirt guy
Lord, no.
didn't do well with the dirt race. Go
Huh.
figure. Um, so
Kind of
you're a big diecast collector. Do you still buy them, or have you kind of like capped off? You're like, okay,
yeah, I'm kind of capped off right now just because they keep getting so expensive.
dude, you're not
Um,
kidding.
but I only started a couple years ago.
It's a pretty decent collection for only starting a few years ago.
I've got all of his 21, 22, and 23 and half of 24 wins.
Bro, that's like 2 grand worth of.
Well, I'm kind of a brat when it comes to diecast cars because all I get are,
Okay. Mm.
and then ever since the premium elites came out, all I've been buying as well.
So we had Tyler Mon, his spotter, on the show, and he said all of 21 he bought the diecasts, and he was like, "Man, I'm gonna go broke buying all these damn diecasts." But
Well,
then I think he said he stopped buying them because he was just like I have them. I think he's got a couple of the next gen cars, but he doesn't buy every race win. So
it's cool for me. I don't know. Like I said, I just got into it a couple years ago, and
okay,
it's a really expensive habit.
yeah,
But with these cases, they're usually really expensive. And I found these two at Bristol at a tent 3 years
the
ago.
case.
Yes, for $20 a piece. And
Oh,
then I had a
dude,
buddy of mine give me this one for free because he just wanted to get rid of it. So
that is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I would probably start filling up the case too if I got them for $20 each or for
yeah,
free.
just the thing inside of them is what's expensive.
Man,
I had
yeah, 100%.
the 40th anniversary car that they ran at Martinsville last spring.
Mm-hmm.
I got the door number on that one in the Elite.
Mm,
It was
that's
Den
awesome.
5, and I got it autographed and ended up trading it for like three cars. One of
Was it
them,
worth it?
yes, one of them was his throwback from last year, the Terry Labonte car, the
The
Kellogg.
one that okay, the Kellogg's car, not the
Yep,
Tony the Tiger car.
I got the gold Elite, and then a couple other ones out of that. So that's
Nice.
cool.
What's your favorite diecast before we end this podcast?
My favorite diecast, I'm gonna have to either go with the Charlotte win up here and
The
forget the
Enos?
car. Yep, the
The
Enos car.
Coors, is that a Coors Light car? The
Uh,
silver?
no, that is one of his 42 cars.
I do not remember that car.
That was his
That's pretty
full.
sexy.
That was his first full time rookie year. But my
Okay.
favorite, like I said, is probably going to be the gold car,
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
and then 22 Homestead win, and then I've got all of 21 wins in order, including a couple of extra paint schemes.
The Kellogg's car, the Tony the Tiger car are pretty badass. Do you have the Tiger, Tony the Tiger car?
I do not. That's one
No.
of the things I want to get, and then obviously being a Tony fan.
Yeah, the Tony Stewart scheme.
So
That one, I'll be honest, that scheme kind of threw me off when he decided to run it.
it did me too because Casey Kane ran it before, like
Well,
at primary,
okay, I didn't realize that. That's yeah, I didn't
not
know. I did
back.
not realize that that's pretty cool. But yeah, to be an Xfinity series car and then it to be Tony Stewart,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why are you running that one? Like just I guess
We
you liked it. So I honestly was waiting for the Tony the Tiger car or the Kellogg's car, and we got the Tony Stewart Xfinity series car.
uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
teach their own if he liked it a lot and he enjoyed it. Hell yeah, whatever.
that's right. That's right. Almost won that race too.
I know. Did he
Uh,
finish second?
that was 23, I think. The Tony Stewart throwback.
Yeah, I think it was 23
Ross
or 22.
Chastain sent him into turn one.
That's
Ryan
right.
Newman brought the caution out with like 20 odd some laps to go.
Ah,
I was
man.
pissed. I was there, but stuck my way into victory lane after the race and was on TV.
Hell yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
That is awesome. Good stuff. Man, great episode. A lot of fun. Right at an hour. It went a little longer than I was expecting.
Uh,
Sorry that we got a little deep. Sorry that, some people were like, what the hell are they talking about? But I think that was an awesome episode. I think it was really cool how we've become friends, how we met is even cooler. You love racing and you get to watch us on Friday and Saturdays, mainly Fridays because we're more upfront on Fridays.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm excited to get to announce stuff going on for next year whenever I get more news on that, which you know a little bit about.
A tad bit.
Zips, zip
Yep.
it, man. No, can't spill the
Hopefully
beans.
all is well. Hopefully all is well.
Hopefully within the next week or two, I'll know more on that. But
That'd
yeah, that was a fun episode, man. And maybe we can do it again just for just shits and giggles. We'll get Owen on here and he can
be,
drink and then we can. I'm sure you guys can go down the rabbit hole of diecast cars because he loves talking about the diecast cars and paint schemes and stuff. So,
hey, that'll
um,
work for me.
but yeah, man, awesome episode and I can't wait to listen to this one. Hopefully, my brother can have it up tomorrow morning because he told me he would have it up tomorrow morning. So I guess we'll
Oh,
see.
sweet.
But nonetheless, we'll get you a link. You can share it with your friends. Hopefully, everybody enjoys it. But thanks for being on here, Andy, and I will catch you later, dude.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, man.
See you, dude.
See ya.